Hey, what it do? Make that like button blue. Sub if you new. Hey, what it do? Make that like button blue. Sub if you new.
Hello, salutations, what it do? It's Sadot the Gamer, all father Durag gang. You know the vibes, like a scrub. Let's get it. Happy Monday. We are back, kicking things off. We are getting so close to the 2024 Game Awards, and today we got a special presentation for you. The man himself, Geoff Keighley, is hosting a special nomination live stream, which we are, of course, going to be covering. The live stream is going to be revealing for the first time all the nominees, all 29 categories, every nominee for all 29 categories, including Game of the Year. And I am very interested to see what makes the cut. Appreciate everyone hanging out. We're about 40 minutes or so away. Just wanted to get in here. I just woke up, so let's ramp things up. Make sure, first things first, smash that like button for the algorithm. Easiest, freest thing you can do to support the stream. Make sure you get everybody in here so they can yell about Black Myth Wukong or whatever not getting nominated. All right. We got Eastwood in the building, Travis, Capte, what's up, Lucky Ray, Dayon, what's up, American Werewolf, Wookie over on the Twitch side, Sonic, what's up, Danny, good morning, and good afternoon, what's up, Richard, what's up, Michelle. December 19th, Game Awards are the 12th. Game Awards are going to be on the 12th. Volume, okay. What's up, Trini? What's up, Simple? Gabe, what's up, Ghost? So I feel like so the full pool of nominees are going to be interesting. A lot of games are eligible for that. Obviously, all eyes are going to be on Game of the Year. And it feels like we know the guaranteed three. I mean, that goes without saying. For Game of the Year, there's 6 nominees for Game of the Year. I feel like half of them is locked up. Astro Bot, Metaphor ReFantazio, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, locked up, guaranteed Game of the Year nominees. So the big question is, who are the remaining 3 for Game of the Year? That's going to be the interesting thing. Shout out to everybody for sure. Elden Ring sweep. So yeah, that's the big controversy going into this. Obviously, if Black Myth Wukong doesn't get a Game of the Year nomination or doesn't get any nominees like they did Hogwarts Legacy last year, that's going to be a big story. But right now, everyone's talking about the fact that Shadow of the Erdtree is eligible. Now, this was already the case. DLC was already eligible. They just updated the FAQ, so a lot of people realized that for the first time. But Phantom Liberty last year got consideration for Game of the Year. It's consistently been the case that DLC and expansions are eligible for every category, which I don't agree with. I don't think Shadow of the Erdtree or any DLC expansion should be nominated for Game of the Year, because it's literally not a game. like I don't know why they're doing this. It's literally not a game. What's up, D Savage? What's up, Baggett? Spider-Man 2 DLC very well. Spider-Man 2 did have what they had, the Flying Fresh suit update. The New Game Plus. They're technically eligible. I don't know if they'll get anything. I doubt they'll get anything for those, but they're technically eligible. They did release updates this year. easy Suicide Squad sweep. Don't sleep on Suicide Squad. I mean, definitely sleep on them in terms of like a lot of nominations, but Suicide Squad could easily get 2 nominations for sure. That's not even a question. Suicide Squad could very easily get at least 2 nominations at the Game Awards for sure. And it wouldn't surprise me at all. Yeah, Spark Zero was fine. It was fun. Not in terms of like being a fighting game, you know, it's not balanced like that, but I had a good time with it. Game Awards are like usually a couple hours. Yeah, Marvel Rivals, they're having I wonder if today is when they show Hawkeye. Because of the time difference, they do their big reveals like at nighttime. So I'm not going to be able to cover whatever they're doing until tomorrow. But I feel like they should do Hawkeye today. They did Punisher yesterday. Suicide Squad is bad. Still very possible it could get at least 2 nominations. Even though it was a bad live service game, every aspect of the game was not bad. Some aspects of the game were actually extremely good. So it could definitely get a nomination or 2. Yeah, I haven't played Wukong either. Like the stream, that's right. Like the stream, where we at right now? Not nearly enough likes. We got double those likes. It's not enough. Suicide Squad is never gonna make it. Oh yeah. Some people are definitely gonna be triggered. So I have a feeling like the people who played Suicide Squad or who like paid attention to it in good faith aren't going to be surprised if it gets nominated, and the people who made hating it their entire personality are going to be outraged and make it a thing because they didn't actually pay attention to the game. But there's 100% no doubt that Suicide Squad could very well get a nomination, at least 2. And it wouldn't be undeserved or unsurprising. So it's going to be funny to see but it will be funny to see the crash out. I think Metaphor ReFantazio is going to win. It's not as clear cut as Baldur's Gate 3, but it's basically the closest to Baldur's Gate 3 that we got this year in terms of like runaway favorite. Astro Bot is going to be up there for sure. Astro Bot is basically, in terms of critical acclaim, is like last year's Breath of the Wild 2. Indiana Jones better. Is it true that a new Arkham game is coming to PC? I mean, technically there is a new Batman game in development, and technically it's going to be available on console and PC. So in a way, sure. Stellar Blade isn't nominated. I think it's very possible Stellar Blade doesn't get any nominations, but I think Stellar Blade should. Not a lot, but I think it deserves Best Action Game. I think it should definitely get some consideration for technical achievement because of how great the visuals were. Same with Suicide Squad. So like Stellar Blade, what was a solid game, not great. Hellblade 2, kind of not good at all, for what I've seen. But those 2 games, along with Suicide Squad, did really well in terms of technical achievement and visuals. So I could definitely see those games getting recognized for that. And Suicide Squad, I think, could also, in addition to a technical achievement, get a nomination for Best Voice Performance, Best Male Voice Performance for Kevin Conroy. I thought Kevin Conroy did a great job, as usual, as Batman. And it's his last role for a video game that he'll be eligible for, so I think they could very well give him a nod for that. Sparking Zero maybe gets something. I'm not sure what Sparking Zero would get. It's definitely possible. Do fighting games have their own category? Because that's like an easy one. Definitely Superman game. Definitely need it. Spider-Man 2 was good. Haters are wrong. Most people agree Spider-Man 2 is good. The flip on Spider-Man 2 is mostly just people crashing out because they wanted more DLC. Overwhelmingly, people agree Spider-Man 2 is a good game. It's just the issue is that people think, and rightfully so, it could have been a better game. What's up, Jericho? Happy Monday. Spider-Man fans hate Spider-Man. Also true. I hear about God of War Egypt. That's pretty much a meme at this point. No one knows what the next God of War will be, but a lot of people say it's Egypt. I don't think Black Myth Wukong is going to be nominated for Game of the Year, but obviously it's on the list. The potential Game of the Years outside of the guaranteed nominees, Astro Bot, Metaphor ReFantazio, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. You have Echoes of Wisdom, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, Space Marine 2, Hellidvers 2, Black Myth Wukong, of course, Balatro. You have a lot of potential nominees there. I feel like Dragon Age: The Veilguard is definitely on that list as well. I've already seen some media mention it. I don't think it will get nominated for Game of the Year, but it definitely will get some nominations, which regardless is going to trigger a lot of people on the internet. If it did get actually Game of the Year nomination, that would just explode. But yeah, Silent Hill 2 is definitely up there. Spider-Man 2 DLC Game of the Year. Black Ops 6. Yeah, that's technically eligible for Game of the Year, along with Shadow of the Erdtree. Yeah, I don't think so. Helldivers 2, I see that on a lot of potential lists. They pretty much never do live service games, like multiplayer or live service games. Almost never get any consideration for Game of the Year. So I think Black Ops 6 will get some nominations as usual. Helldivers 2 will get some. I don't think they're going to be on the list for Game of the Year. Veilguard is definitely going to get some nominations for sure. Like we all know there's like a political component to the nomination process. We saw that last year with what happened with Hogwarts Legacy. But if you look at Veilguard, despite the backlash from the anti-woke people, if you look at the critic scores, you had some reviewers who really loved the game. Obviously, if you look at the overall scores, they're not great, but they're decent. 80. I think it's currently sitting at like an 81 on Metacritic, right, which is tied with Black Myth Wukong. But you had some that really loved it. I think bare minimum, it's getting a nomination for best RPG. It also has pretty good production value, so it could get some technical consideration as well. But I think they might definitely throw in a couple extra nominees just to own the anti-wokes, because of how annoying they were being. I could definitely see that. Nothing new, no news on the EA Marvel games. The Atreus DLC game, yeah, I've heard a bunch of stuff like that. The last God of War thing I heard that's probably reliable is they're releasing a remaster of the original trilogy. Your anti-woke, and even you know that game got too much hate. Yeah, the Veilguard is definitely a very flawed game, but it's fine. It's like a 7.5 out of 10 game. It's not bad. It's just fine. So it's a serviceable action RPG. It's got some cool elements. It's got some obviously not great ones. And obviously in terms of a follow-up to the previous Dragon Age games, it's a disappointment. If you're a longtime Dragon Age fan, I think the game will be disappointing for you. But as a standalone action RPG, it's just fine. Yeah, 7 out of 10. I can see you going 8 on that, because I haven't gotten to the end yet, but I heard like the ending battles are really great, so I could definitely see it bumping up to potentially an 8. But yeah, it's definitely not a masterpiece by any means, but it's also not like terrible. When am I dropping First Ascendant content again? I don't plan on it. I haven't even been playing the game even in my spare time. Features soon ability to mutash. Yeah, they said they're going to do some minor updates. Nothing too big. They're moving on to focus on Mass Effect. But yeah, Tosh definitely. The one thing I want them to change is the ability to only romance one companion. I thought that was pretty lame. that you had to pick one companion to commit to. I thought that was pretty weak. You thought the Game Awards was in December? They are. For what you know, Dragon Age and Mass Effect, it's always been pretty woke. Yeah, they're tourists. Like, the problem is that woke has like a lot of insult terms have evolved to completely lose any and all meaning. Like, woke used to refer to something very specific, very specific. Obviously, the original definition was just someone who was politically aware, and then it was hijacked and turned into an insult to describe preachy political propaganda inserted into entertainment with a progressive slant. And now it just refers to any game that has a woman or a non-straight person or a person of color. Any game or movie or show that has someone who's not straight and white is what that's what it's evolved to now. So it's lost on meaning. Like, no one takes it seriously anymore. The anti-wokes meme themselves into irrelevance. It happens all the time. It's inevitable with the way social media works. It's always going to play out like this, because you just don't have smart individuals engaging in this conversation or any of these discourse. You just have a lot of people who are just listening to what they're being told and not thinking for themselves. They're just reactionary. Do I watch Arcane? Yep, I am an Arcane enjoyer. Not into the game, but the show is definitely top tier. Yeah, I've been on the internet long enough, especially, and I see a lot more of it, unfortunately, now that I'm a content creator. There are a lot of very low IQ individuals. So many. Concord gave it a year convert, imagine. But would Concord even be eligible, like on a technical level? Because it technically released, but also was canceled within like 10 days. Would it even be eligible for an award? Since the game doesn't exist. They pulled the game after less than 2 weeks. Is there like an eligibility requirement that beyond the release year? Like, can a game that was shut down within 10 days get a nomination for anything? You had a chance of saying, speaking of low IQ individuals, and did proud. Of course, Jay is a very high IQ individual. I know because that's what it said on the memo of the large check that he sent me before he hopped into the stream. Celebrate is solid. I thought Celebrate was like a solid 8 out of 10 game. 8, maybe 8.2, 8.3, something around that. Yes, Stellar Blade, you know, when you set aside obviously the fan service, it's a really fun action game. The looks amazing, you know, in terms of technical achievement, the art design, the quality of the visuals, very well done, very high quality production design. But the story and the acting is pretty terrible. Like, it's a pretty bland, uninteresting story, and most of the voice acting is horrific. So I think that's what held Stellar Blade back from like getting like major consideration, but it's still a fun game. Celebrate was the hours of your life. Liza P and Stellar Blade, both Korean. Are they? I know Stellar Blade is. I wasn't sure what Liza P was. Who actually made Liza P? I played the demo. I didn't love it, the demo specifically, but I did enjoy the game. I just didn't like some aspects of the demo. Yep, South Korean studio. Yeah, Eastern Studios had a pretty crazy year. Yeah, some of the top games of the year all come from the East. Black Myth Wukong, Pow World, Stellar Blade, Lies of P, Dragon's Dogma 2, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor ReFantazio. Eastern Studios are crushing it. I bet Travis is going to have GTA 6 day one. This is East game year. Yeah, they definitely went crazy this year. They had one of the biggest live service games as well, with the First Descendant. Yeah, the Eastern Studios. Shout out to Eastern Studios. They did their thing. Not a great year for American studios. You know, you have the usual suspects. You know, Call of Duty, that does great every year. EA had a good year with Madden and bringing back college football. But yeah, other than that, yeah, tough year for the American studios or Western studios in general. New Mafia game would be gas. Dragon's Dogma 2, yeah, Dragon's Dogma 2 was so Dragon's Dogma 2, I gave that an 8.5. I feel like Dragon's Dogma 2 could have easily been a 9.5, but it did so many dumb and avoidable things that sabotaged it. But it should have it had the potential to surpass Elden Ring easily. They did the exploration, the way they did that, the different abilities you can unlock and find. Like that world had so much potential, but the game itself did so many really stupid things that are like basic functions in RPGs, and it just didn't work. They're announcing all of the nominees for every category. Durag. Get to play a female character. Lucky loves the female characters. You don't like Dragon Dogma 2 because no fast travel. So it's not that it doesn't have fast travel. It clearly does. But the way they decided to do the fast travel rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Because you have to get these specific crystals, and you can fast travel if you have a crystal and set one in a specific location. But they're kind of hard to come by. They take a while to accumulate. But they added the ability for you to buy them, which made it seem like they intentionally made fast travel annoying just to drive you to the store. And obviously you can take the wagon in between places. That's another fast travel method. But it feels like, but the only problem with the wagon is that sometimes the wagon gets attacked by monsters, and then you're just left walking if it gets destroyed. But yeah, in general, it felt like they made it intentionally inconvenient and then tried to sell you a solution. I don't know whose idea it was. Maybe it's something Capcom forced on them to, maybe it was their vision. Because it definitely felt like they wanted to encourage exploration, which is fine. Like, exploration is a huge part. But I felt like they could have done that without being overly inconvenient to the player. Especially because it does look bad now. Like, having that inconvenient fast travel methods and then selling a solution, that it looks bad. Also, the story itself, the main story, like, what isn't very great. The missions mostly aren't very inspired. But my biggest issue is that, because I played a little Baldur's Gate 3, and even though I didn't like the combat at all, I kept playing longer than I normally would because I really enjoyed the story and the characters. And I feel like choice and companion relationships are so important to an RPG, and it's pretty much non-existent in Dragon's Dogma 2. Like, you don't meet and form relationships with all these great cast of characters. You have your pawn, who basically has no personality, and then the other pawns you meet are basically just mercenaries you pick up off the road. Like, there's no connection. You don't really build relationships with the characters you meet. They're just NPCs that are there to give you quest info. Like, it was really bad. I feel like it needed more time. Space Marine 2, definitely one of my favorite games of the year, for sure. Yeah, it was weird. Like, not even outdated, because these are, what I'm describing are like basic things that RPGs have had. It felt like they tried to just go away from RPG trends, but they didn't replace them with anything better. They just said, no, we're just not going to have it. Like, it felt like they tried to lean more into like an Elden Ring type of game, and it just didn't work. No, I didn't play Wukong yet. Do I like the PS5 Pro? Yeah, I like it. It's pretty good. I'm definitely enjoying having the PS5 Pro. It's nice knowing that I no longer have to choose between performance and fidelity. But the best benefits are going to come with like newer games. But it's nice to have. Alan Wake 2 came out last year, but because DLC are eligible, technically Alan Wake 2, just like Elden Ring, is eligible for some awards because they did have some DLC this year. Same with Starfield, though not a lot of people enjoyed the Starfield expansion that came out this year. Did I see the news? Ubisoft confirmed leakers are idiots. I did not. What leakers are idiots? The only Ubisoft news I saw was that they're doing a Red Bull collab for Assassin's Creed Shadows. That's the last I heard. You waiting for the PS5 Pro emulator? You might be waiting a while. I feel like the PS5 Pro is definitely something you can wait for. It's nice to have, but it's not like a must buy. I'd wait for like a major game that could take advantage of it, like Monster Hunter Wilds, GTA 6, Ghost of Yotei. Really good. I don't think I've ever had a Red Bull. I'm just not interested in energy drinks as a concept. Astro Bot and Sonic X Shadows need to be Generations. Maybe Shadows. I don't think I would put Sonic Shadow Generations in the same category as Astro Bot. Astro Bot is on the short list for Game of the Year because of its incredibly high Metacritic score. I think right now, let's see. Astro Bot is currently sitting at a 94 Metacritic score. Yeah, so yeah, if you have a above 90 Metacritic score, you're pretty much guaranteed to get a nomination. Especially if like we're talking about a major release as well, not an indie game. This is like a major release from Sony, and it's got a 94. There's not a chance that Astro Bot isn't getting nominated. The only question is how many nominations will Astro Bot get? Your picks are definitely interesting. Yeah, Astro Bot is definitely getting nominated for Game of the Year. Silent Hill 2 is possible. I don't think Black Myth Wukong is getting nominated. Metaphor ReFantazio, I think, is going to win. I'm curious if they're gonna give. I'm going real curious how much they give Space Marine 2. because I think Space Marine 2 definitely should be Game of the Year nominee over both Silent Hill 2 and Black Myth Wukong. Like, it's a game that it's a really good game. It has higher Metacritic score than Wukong, and it sold really well. But I feel like a Dragon could squeeze in there because that one's almost at a 90 Metacritic score. Jujutsu Kaisen as turn-based would have been even worse than it already is. I think yeah, I covered this in my last video. I think Sony for the 30th anniversary is probably going to do some kind of tease for Marvel's Wolverine, similar to what they did for the 25th anniversary for Ghost of Tsushima. I think there's definitely a good chance Sony teases Wolverine and says that they're going to have something for it at the Game Awards. Because I've been hearing that Sony is gearing up for like some kind of Wolverine showcase, some kind of gameplay showcase for Wolverine. And if they're not having a PlayStation showcase or a state of play, which it sounds like they're not, it makes sense that they would do it at the Game Awards. Turn-based is inferior. I'm afraid to break it to you. I don't care about the Switch at all. I never bought a Nintendo Switch. I'm definitely not buying a Switch 2. I don't support Nintendo in any way, shape, or form. I have not bought a Nintendo product since the Nintendo 64. That's the last Nintendo product I purchased. I don't like Nintendo as a company. I think Nintendo makes great games. They made some great franchises. I think they're a horrible company. I think their use of lawfare to target content creators, to target opposing video game companies is pretty horrific. I think they're a horrible company. I think they're stuck in the past, and I don't think they treat their customers even that well. They just, have luckily managed to corner a niche in the market for handhelds, and that sustained them over the last decade, to make up for the fact that they completely got destroyed in the console war. But I don't like them as a company, and I'm happy to continue not supporting them. That's why you pirate and emulate. Yeah, the Pokemon, the Power lawsuit is particularly just egregious. Nintendo is trying to just shut down Power World and the studio. They're trying to claim that they own the concept of monster catching and riding on monsters. And they're trying to use that to destroy Pocket Pair and make them pull Power World from all the stores and close their studio down. Nintendo is a disgusting company, and I will never give them money. Who buy Metal Gear? I'm sure a lot of people buy Metal Gear. I think Spider-Man 2 is getting DLC. It's just not going to be the DLC that some people want. It's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be Carnage. It's going to be like I think they're going to get like I think they're still going to release the Spider-Verse DLC. Since it's basically cosmetic only. Because it's still DLC, but also it's not story content, so they can technically say they didn't lie. And it would be easier for them to release than trying to do full-on story content. I think that makes the most sense. And I think they save... Yeah, I don't want Carnage in Spider-Man 3. I don't think that's necessary, really. Unless they want to make Spider-Man 3 a really big game, which I don't think they do. Save him for the Venom game. Like, just make him the villain of the Venom game. And then just let Spider-Man 3 be about Green Goblin. Okay, hope. No, it's like it makes the most logical sense. Like you don't want to do story content because I read that as they obviously did plan the story content, but it's going to be too time consuming because they're behind on Wolverine. They want to make sure that they get Wolverine out without any delays or anything. But obviously Sony wants them to release DLC because Sony likes money, and Spider-Man 2 is really expensive. So yeah, naturally, what could they still release? Well, they planned 2 story DLC, but they also planned a non-story DLC. And that feels like the easiest one to get out the door. So just give people some Spider-Verse stuff and call it a day. It isn't up to Sony. Why would it not be up to Sony? Please explain that. Why would it not be up to Sony? Nintendo just needs to upgrade your software. They do, and they are. Yeah, the Switch is definitely outdated, but the Switch 2 is definitely getting a big bump. Metal Gear Solid Delta. When is that coming out in 2025 as well? I think that's 2025, right? Man, I don't know if I'm gonna have time to. If Delta comes out in 2025, which I think it is, I don't know if we're gonna have time to play it. Getting Hulk, Green Goblin, regular suit, Green Goblin. That is a good question. What's up, Jaden? I feel like we're getting... thinking about Insomniac, they do a lot of grounded takes on these villains. So I can definitely see maybe a hybrid. Maybe Norman gets transformed a little bit. But I could also see him just still being Norman, just a little more muscular, and it just being like a suit, like a pure suit, similar to his look in No Way Home. Yeah, I'm not sure if Insomniac is gonna go full comic. You want an Invincible game? It's coming. I'm doing good, Jaden. How are you? Ready for 1943? Same. I think it might be 50-50. No, I think it might be 60-40. I think odds are Insomniac goes more grounded and doesn't turn Norman green. Will I buy a Nintendo Switch? I will never buy any Nintendo related product. Unless the company undergoes a massive transformation. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Insomniac Norman. I mean, I like him as a character. I thought they did a good job, especially in the first game. I don't think they did a good job of setting him up to be Green Goblin. I don't. He was too much of a nice guy in Spider-Man 2. They didn't have really enough time to flesh out his development because, you know, the game was rushed and they had to cut a lot of stuff. Like his transition to hating Spider-Man at the end of Spider-Man 2 didn't really make any sense at all. It just felt like they needed him to hate Spider-Man for story purposes, and they just had to force something in there because they just didn't have the time to flesh it out, and it just didn't work. So I'm hoping that they can figure that out in Spider-Man 3 and like build that up properly. I think we'll see a trailer for Iron Man at the Game Awards. Need a Batman Beyond game? I think for sure, if we're getting if it has to be a Batman game, it should be Batman Beyond. Like, at least be a little creative and like take a chance on Batman Beyond. Because I can get behind that. I can deal with that. But just a straightforward Arkham Batman game, I'm not really interested. I feel like that's too safe. And at that point, I feel like you might as well have just done a different hero. I don't think they're going to show the Black Myth Wukong DLC this year. Yeah, Spider-Man 2, for whatever reason, Insomniac fell behind schedule. Brian Intihar told the story that he's the creative director. He said that PlayStation looked at what they had and said the game wasn't meeting their quality standards, which obviously was a big problem. So they had to kind of scramble because he realized they weren't going to have enough time to, you know, make all the changes that they need to make while still sticking to their vision. So they ended up having to, you know, cut a bunch of stuff to make it work, particularly in the third act. The obvious solution would have just been to delay the game and give them time, but obviously, Sony said that's not happening. We're not having that because they wanted it out for the holiday season. So it's the game we got. Still a really good game, but clearly a game that could have been better. And yeah, the hackers more so played a role in the DLC probably getting canceled because of just how much it delayed everything. Because the hack didn't happen until after months after the game already came out. So this had nothing to do with the hack. The hack more so messed up the Wolverine timeline and probably made it so that Insomniac had to just change their DLC story plans. I hope now that they've reprioritize stuff. They're able to get Spider-Man 3 out in a timely just get enough time. Like don't set expectations. Don't even set expectations. I feel like don't even announce it until you're confident that everything's going on schedule. It's going to be finished and everything. I wouldn't do that, because with Spider-Man 2, they're like, okay, we're committing to 2023. Like, don't commit to Spider-Man 3 release year until you're until you're 100% sure. Like, you're not going to have to rush, you're not going to have to cut anything. Like, make sure. Indestructible environments could have been cool in Spider-Man 2. Literally see clips of Venom slamming Spider-Man through the ground to underground area. It would have been cool, but I don't even think it's necessary. I think what's really been missing from Spider-Man games in general, I feel like, which I hope they address in Spider-Man 3, is that they got to figure out how to do the open world stuff, like the random events and stuff. Like that's been the consistent problem. Like when the campaign ends, like there has to be more than just swinging around, stopping cars, and like, because in Spider-Man 2, is even more scaled down, because the Craven spots are all gone. You're basically just swinging around. You occasionally stop a carjacking, which you can basically just do automatically, and there's like a mob of symbiotes that you have to beat up. Like that's just not interesting. What's up, Champagne? The open world aspect doesn't feel properly alive. Like a game that I thought did a much better job of that is Gotham Knights. The Gotham Knight world of Gotham feels much more alive and interactive when you're patrolling and going around. Like there's more dynamic crime. There's more. It feels like it's more interesting and incentivizes you more to like play it. Because, for example, the variety of crimes. Like when you go into the city in Gotham, you get a fresh set of objectives, and some of the crimes will be like, there's a hostage situation, there's a bunch of enemies, they've got citizens with bombs around their neck, and you have to go in there and take out the bad guys without losing any civilians. Because what happens is, if you get spotted and they sound the alarm, then they start the countdown on the timers, so that now you have 30 seconds before all the citizens blow up. So it actually gives you a reason to do stealth. And then you'll have dynamic stuff like Man-Bat randomly attacking you, or you'll see like a chest or something, like a collectible. You're like, oh, let me pick this up, but it'll be a trap set by the League of Assassins, and then they'll just jump out at you. They'll set off an explosion, then they'll just jump out at you. Like stuff like that makes it feel more dynamic and lived in. Whereas the Spider-Man 2 open world, after the campaign ends, just kind of nothing really happening here. It's just like random symbiote crime, occasional carjacking. That's pretty much it. They got to do. I think they got to do a better job with that. Yeah, Ghost indeed had an open world. Great side objectives too. But when the Ghost of Tsushima campaign ended, it was mostly just riding around the countryside, looking at cool stuff. There's some great collectibles to find, but the replay value came from the Legends mode. Do you please still play Gotham Knights? Yeah, for sure. Oh, it's time.
Let's do it. Here are the nominees for the Game Awards 2024. For Best Ongoing Game, the nominees are Destiny 2, Diablo 4,
Yep.
Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Helldivers 2.
Helldivers 2.
Your Best Performance nominees are
Not
Brianna
surprising.
White for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth,
Mm-hmm.
Hannah Tell for Life is Strange Double Exposure,
Okay.
Umberly Gonzalez for Star Wars Outlaws,
Star Wars Outlaws. Oh.
Luke Roberts, Silent Hill 2, and Melina Jurgens, Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2.
Nothing for Kevin Conroy.
Best mobile
That's
game,
tough.
The nominees are AFK Journey,
Fortnite.
Quattro,
Yeah. Best all going
Pokemon
game.
Trading Card Game Pocket, Wuthering Waves, and Zenless Zone Zero.
I feel like
The
Balacho's
nominees
winning
for
that.
Best art direction are Astro Bot,
Yeah.
Black Myth Wukong,
Black Myth Wukong.
Elden
All
Ring,
right, they got one.
Shadow of the Erdtree,
They got one.
Metaphor ReFantazio,
Of course.
and Neva.
Didn't play
For
that
Best
one.
Score and Music, this year's nominees are Astro Bot,
Astro
Final
Bot.
Fantasy VII Rebirth,
Yep, for sure.
Metaphor ReFantazio,
Yep.
Silent Hill 2.
This is actually gonna be a tough one.
Stellar Blade.
Stellar Blade.
In the category of Best
Yeah.
Audio Design,
Well deserved.
are nominated
Well deserved.
Astro Bot,
Mm-hmm.
Call of Duty Black Ops 6,
Boo.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth,
Yeah.
Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2,
Oh, absolutely.
and Silent Hill 2.
Yeah, that's fair.
Best Adaptation recognizes excellence in authentically creating shows, movies, and other creative endeavors based on video
Travis
game
crashing
worlds.
out.
Here are this year's nominees for Best Adaptation.
Yeah, Stellar Blade's music is
Arcane,
incredible.
Fallout,
Mm-hmm.
Knuckles, Like a Dragon Yakuza, and Tomb Raider, The Legend of Lara Croft.
Arcane.
For Best Narrative
Arcane,
Design,
definitely.
TGA nominees are
Arcane easily.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth,
Mm-hmm.
Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth,
Mm.
Metaphor ReFantazio,
Metaphor is winning that.
Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, and Silent Hill 2.
Metaphor is winning that.
Games for Impact celebrates thought-provoking games with a profound pro-social meaning or message.
The woke
Here are
category.
This year's nominees.
They have literally a woke category.
Indica, Neva, Life is Strange Double Exposure, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, and Tales of Kenzera, Zao.
Sales of Kenzera.
Nominees for Best Community Support are
I think Life is Strange is winning that
Baldur's
one.
Gate 3, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, and No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky should
In
win
the
that.
category of Best Multiplayer, the nominees are
Helldivers 2.
Call of Duty Black Ops 6,
Boo.
Helldivers 2, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Tekken 8, and Warhammer 40.
Space Marine. Ooh, Space Marine 2. That's a good. Ooh.
Best independent game celebrates.
Now, Helldivers 2 does have better
the high degree
multiplayer.
of risk tolerance, as they are produced outside
Concord.
the traditional publisher system.
Where's Concord?
Nominees are
Best indie game.
Animal Well,
Animal Well.
Balatro,
Balatro.
Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, Neva,
Neva.
UFO 50.
UFO 50. Interesting.
Next is Best Debut Indie Game, which recognizes a development team
Ooh,
that hasn't
debut
won
indie
a
game.
Game Award before. In fact, these teams published their first
What's up,
game
Gabe?
in 2024. The nominees are Animal Well,
Animal Well.
Balatro.
Balatro is going to win a lot of these.
Pacific Drive, and
Pacific Drive.
The Plucky Squire. For Best
Yeah,
VR
there's no way
AR,
Suicide Squad was
nominees
getting
are
that one.
Arizona Sunshine Remake, Asgard's Wrath 2, Batman Arkham Shadow,
Arkham Shadow.
Metal Hellsinger VR, and Metro Awakening.
I mean, it had to get Best VR.
Content Creator of the Year.
Sadot the
nominees
Gamer.
are
J Shock Blast.
Iso, Ilawan, Techno Gamers, Typical Gamer, and Usada Pecora.
I don't know
Part
any
the
of these
Game
people.
Awards
I don't know
is
any of these
towards
people,
what's next.
but the VTuber is
Yes,
going to
we'll
win.
have lots of games to announce on December 12th. But what's the most anticipated upcoming game? Here are the nominees based on currently announced
Most
titles.
anticipated. Ooh.
Death Stranding 2,
Mhm.
On the Beach,
Not
Ghost of Yote,
Ghost of Yote.
Grand Theft Auto 6,
GTA 6 is winning.
Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and
Yeah.
Monster Hunter Wilds.
GTA 6 is winning.
The Best Action Adventure nominees are Astro Bot.
Let's go home. Astro
Prince of
Bot.
Persia: The
Lost
Lost
Crown. Okay.
Silent Hill 2.
Silent Hill 2.
Star Wars
Star Wars Outlaws?
and The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom.
What?
For best role playing, the jury selected Dragon's Dogma 2,
Dragon Age of
Elden
Veilguard.
Ring:
Shadow of the Erdtree.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth, and Metaphor
ReFantazio. Oh, no, Dragon Age.
In the
Interesting.
category of best fighting,
Dragon Ball Sparking Zero.
Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classic.
That was pretty fun.
Multiversus.
Boo.
Tekken 8. The nominees
I think
for
Tekken
Best
8 is going to win that
Action
one.
are
Or Sparking Zero.
Black Myth Wukong,
Best Action. Black Myth
Call
Wukong.
of Duty Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2,
Hellidvers 2.
Stellar Blade,
Stellar Blade. Ooh.
Warhammer 40,
Yeah.
Space Marine,
Space Marine 2.
Innovation in accessibility celebrates games that are making our industry available and enjoyable to more people. Selected by a special committee of
Interesting.
accessibility experts, the nominees for innovation in accessibility
Hellblade
are
2.
Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Diablo 4, Dragon Age: The Veilguard,
Raise of Veilguard. I knew they were going to get one.
Star Wars Outlaw.
Really? Interesting.
Next up, Best Family Game. The nominees are Astro
Astro Bot, of course.
Princess Peach Showtime, Super Mario Party Jamboree,
Easy Volcade Sweep.
The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom, and The Plucky
I don't know.
Squire.
As someone who
The
played
Best
both
Strategy
Outlaws
nominees are
and Dragon Age,
Mythology Retold,
I feel like Star Wars Outlaws
2,
has
Wrath
way
of
better
the Goddess,
accessibility
Animals,
options.
and Unicorn Overlord.
Mm.
This year, these titles are nominated for Best Sports Racing, F1 24, EA Sports FC 25, NBA 2K,
And we're not woken up.
Top Spin 2,
NBA 2K25 should not get nominated.
WWE 2K24.
This is outrageous.
All right, let's take a look at our 3 esports categories. Starting
How does
with
college football not get nominated?
Best Esports Game. The nominees are Counter-Strike 2, Dota 2, League of Legends, Mobile Legends Bang Bang, and
NBA 2K25 is horrible.
the nominees for Best Esports Athlete
That's
are
crazy.
3-3, Alexi B,
How does college football not get nominated? It was literally the biggest sports game of the year.
and Kong Kong.
This is the worst 2K.
For the Best
NBA
Esports
2K25 is like
Special Esports
arguably the
Nominees
worst 2K they've ever made.
Billy Gaming, League of Legends,
How much did they pay to get this nomination?
Navi, Counter-Strike, T1, League of Legends. and
That's outrageous.
Team Liquid, Dota 2. All right, it's time for our final 2 categories. For Best Game Direction, which recognizes outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design, the nominees are Astro Bot,
Astro Bot,
Balatro, Black Myth
Wukong,
Elden Ring: Shadow of the
Shadow of the
Erdtree,
Erdtree,
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth,
Uh-huh.
and
Metaphor ReFantazio.
ReFantazio.
Yep. All right, here we go.
Finally, our global TGA jury, of which I am not a member, has selected the following 6 games as nominees for Game of the
Here we
Year
go, Game of the Year.
Game Awards
Astro Bot,
2024.
Metaphor,
The Game of the Year
Final Fantasy
nominees
VII Rebirth.
are Astro Bot from Team Asobi,
Mhm.
Balatro,
Balatro.
Thunk,
Ooh,
Black Myth
they
Wukong,
Black Myth Wukong got the nominee. Oh, hold up.
Elden Ring:
I knew it. Shadow of the Erdtree.
from Software,
I knew they were going to pull that.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth,
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Uh-huh.
and
Metaphor ReFantazio. Interesting.
Zero. So there you have it. Those
So they
are
threw Black Myth
nominees
Wukong a
for
bone.
Game of the Year. And yes, that means you'll hear the Game Awards Orchestra conducted by Lauren Bell.
Shadow of the Erdtree getting nominated is
live on
outrageous.
this very stage on December 12th. But before then, you should head to thegameawards.com to help select the winners by casting your ballot in all categories.
There's absolutely no way you think Stellar Blade deserved Game of the Year. There's no way.
Category, where fans 100% select the winner from 30 nominees.
There's no way.
Announce those nominees on Monday,
That wasn't even a
December
consideration.
The winners in all categories will be revealed live during the Game Awards when it streams globally on Thursday, December 12th, starting with the opening act at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m.
There was a 0% chance
at the Game
of
Awards.
Stellar Blade getting a Game of the Year nomination. That game is not nearly that good.
10th anniversary trilogy. Hope to see you then. And
I'm
don't
sorry.
forget,
I'm sorry, it's
cast
not.
your vote.
Yeah, no. It's no. Stellar Blade definitely does not deserve Game of the Year nomination. Definitely not over any of the games that also didn't get nominated. Stellar Blade, I think Shadow the Erdtree definitely didn't deserve to be there. I think Shadow the Erdtree definitely should not have been there. But, I mean, you could have had Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. You could have had Space Marine 2 there. There's absolutely no way. But we all know what's going to win. Metaphor ReFantazio. I am glad that they nominated Wukong, so that we don't have to get 10,000 videos of Chuz complaining about how the Game Awards are woke. You haven't heard of Metaphor? Yeah, Metaphor is the front runner right now for Game of the Year. It's basically the Baldur's Gate 3 of 2024. They'll say Midtree. There's no way they're giving Shadow the Erdtree is winning. It was controversial enough to include Shadow the Erdtree because it's not a game. It clearly should not be qualified for Game of the Year. It's literally not a game. But it's not winning over Metaphor ReFantazio. There's no way. There's no way they're giving Shadow the Erdtree Game of the Year over Metaphor ReFantazio. There's no way. Why is Star Wars Outlaws nominated for anything? I mean, I was surprised it got nominated for Best Action Adventure, but yeah, accessibility options. I don't know why that would be an issue. The voice performance was good. I don't know if it was one of the best of years, but it was a good performance. And see, the problem with Star Wars Outlaws is that, yeah, gameplay wise, it's pretty weak, but you can't really appreciate how good the game is unless you actually play it for a certain amount of time. Like, once you get past the second planet, the game gets really, really good. But most of the people who responded to Star Wars, who are criticizing Star Wars Outlaws, either didn't play it at all and are just going off of what people who already made up their mind not to like the game said, or they only played, up to like that second planet, after you get off the starter one. They just didn't stick around because of the bloatedness, but the game gets substantially better the longer you play it. I still gotta finish Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But out of all those, I'm probably not gonna end up playing Metaphor. I think Metaphor has got it. I think they're gonna win. I didn't play Elden Ring. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I only played about 2 hours of it. But I'm gonna play it again now that I have a PS5 Pro and can get like an actual good visual experience. Astro Bot is obviously amazing. I feel like Space Marine 2 should have been there instead of Shadow the Erdtree or Like a Dragon. But yeah, I think Metaphor is definitely winning. I think overall Space Marine 2 from start to finish was the best game I played this year. Yeah, Shadow the Erdtree getting nominated, like I knew it was happening, So when they updated the FAQ to show that DLC counted and would be in consideration for every category, I knew they were going to pull this. Shadow Erdtree is not a game. It should not be nominated for Game of the Year. It's not a game. They're essentially nominating Elden Ring twice. I don't go out of my way to play turn-based games. I'm just not interested. You think Final Fantasy VII will win? I think it's definitely a top choice, but it feels like all the momentum is for Metaphor ReFantazio. I think that's where the momentum is right now. I think Metaphor is the front runner, but Shadow the Erdtree should not be nominated. That's crazy. It's literally not a game. They're literally just giving Elden Ring a second Game of the Year nomination 2 years after it came out. It's BS. It's not a game. It's a DLC expansion. It's not a game. If it requires you to buy another game and play through it in order to experience it, it's not a game. It's a DLC. It's not eligible for Game of the Year. It's crazy. Like they didn't even do this for Phantom Liberty. Like Phantom Liberty got consideration and it got nominated in a couple categories, but not for Game of the Year. It got consideration for Game of the Year, but it didn't. This is next level glaze. This is actual generational glaze that we're experiencing right now for Elden Ring. Elden Ring should absolutely not get a Game of the Year nomination. This is crazy. It's a DLC. There's no way. This is ridiculous. Otherwise, I thought it was a really solid list. The sports section was also pretty egregious. The nominees for the sports category is pretty terrible, but I feel like overall the Game of the Year is about what I expected. Like I knew Astro Bot, Metaphor, and Final Fantasy Rebirth are locked. I predicted Balatro as well. I just didn't know where they would go for the other ones. But I had a feeling it would be Shadow the Erdtree. If you need to buy a 2-year-old game to access the content, it's not a new game. Is that not only do you have to buy Shadow the Erdtree, you have to buy a 2-year-old game, then you have to play through a large chunk of that 2-year-old game just to access the Shadow of the Erdtree content. It's bullshit. Like, there's no way. It's not a game. like this is not acceptable. Like this is ridiculous. Like, I can't take this seriously. Like, it's not a game. It's literally not a game. The point of Game of the Year is supposed to celebrate the best game that released that year. Like, that's insane. Shadow the Erdtree was not the best game that released this year, and it's not even a game. like there's no way. All the games they could have put here instead of wasting a slot on Shadow the Erdtree. They could have put Space Marine 2 here. They could have put Hellidvers here. They could have put Like a Dragon. And they're just throwing this spot away for Shadow the Erdtree. This is actually just lame. I knew they were going to do it, but it's lame. It's lame that they pulled this. Like, it's fine for it to be obviously eligible for other categories, like best art direction or whatever. Like, that's fine, but game of the year, it should not be for DLC. Like, that's crazy. Remakes, fine, because they're still games. But a DLC expansion it's not a game. Like, that's ridiculous. If Spider-Man 2 had DLC, fans would be on their knees crying. No, they would. And like, I mean, I'm sure Alan Wake 2 fans, you know, however many there are, Starfield fans for sure. I can imagine if I go on Twitter right now, I bet I see a bunch of people that glaze Starfield crying about Shattered Space getting snubbed. like I guarantee it. Durag Nation for chat of the year? Hell yeah. Yeah. I don't, at this point, yeah, I only watch, the main reason I watch the Game Awards anyway is for the world premieres. I don't really care about the nominations, especially now. Like, it's silly. This is all just silly. Like, nominate not a DLC. Now we're nominating DLC for Game of the Year. This is just not just non-serious now. This is just not real now. So I don't. so I care even less about these awards now. So I'm just going to tune in for the new trailers, the world premieres. There's literally no, yeah, it literally doesn't make any sense for a DLC to be nominated. It's crazy. You didn't even finish Shattered Space. It's not even that long. Hey, you love Starfield. Thanks. Black Myth Wukong has to win. Now, I don't think Black Myth Wukong is winning. I'm glad they nominated it, so we won't have to hear endless whining about how it got snubbed because woke. But I think Metaphor is going to win. Squirrel with a Gun should have got nominated. Squirrel with a Gun deserves to be nominated for sure. Way more than Shadow Erdtree. That's just a waste of a spot. Like, it's not going to win, and it doesn't deserve to be there. Like, you could have honored another game. You could have honored Hellidvers, you know, because multiplayer games typically don't get any love. You could have honored Space Marine, Like a Dragon. Like, that's just a waste of a spot. Just so you can glaze FromSoft. Like, that's crazy. Like, this is actual generational glaze we're witnessing right now for Elden Ring. Like, you might as well just put Call of Duty up there too. Any Goat Simulator game. Like, this is just silly. Yeah, this is just silly. Especially if it actually won, like, that would just be the end. People who give Game Awards are not even competitive gamers. I mean, some of them are, but it doesn't matter. Like, at least just understand. I don't care about the competitive aspect of it. Just in general, just be someone who loves games, who plays a wide variety of games. I think that's fine. Black Myth Wukong. Black Myth is the biggest game. Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's game of the year. You know, sales really don't mean anything. Doesn't mean, you know, if sales determine what would be the biggest game, like the MCU movies would have a lot more Oscars. Like, it doesn't matter. It sold the most, but it wasn't the best game. Yeah, it definitely lost a lot of credibility with this one. You just want to have fun games. You don't want to have competitive games all the time. Yeah, true. Too many journalists against Black Myth Wukong. I don't think it was that many journalists that are against Black Myth Wukong. Obviously, it played a role, it's ridiculous that it even got that far, because the whole Black Myth Wukong controversy was from a completely fabricated story by IGN. Like, it's not even true. That's the craziest thing. Like like the whole Black Myth Wukong controversy. It wasn't originally a culture war thing. Like, Black Myth Wukong just looked like a really cool game that people were interested in, and that's all it was. Like, it was just a cool game that people were looking forward to whenever it came out, until IGN made that fake story calling the studio bigots or whatever, and then it became a culture war thing. Like, and then, you know, a few activists you know, followed the script and decided to penalize Wukong to, you know, to make sure they don't get canceled. It was the whole thing was silly. Yeah, IGN is, the fact that IGN continues to get like early access and stuff is crazy. Like, I understand they're a big outlet, but they need to be held accountable. They need to be held accountable for their consistently horrible journalism. They should have a category for recognize the games that were released before they're ready. That's crazy. They're going to start giving cosmetic packs and microtransactions game of the year nomination. Actually, they might. That has to be on the table, right? Because technically it is DLC. Expect all that is part of it. Like, so like if Fortnite has a really good collab that has a story component, and it gets a lot of buzz. Fortnite, we can see Fortnite Marvel crossover, whatever, getting this is crazy. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, that actually has opened the door for that. Like, we could get we could be having cosmetics be nominated for game. This is crazy. Fortnite is actually very fun. Fortnite is I'm not a Fortnite player. I'll hop in occasionally. I can at least acknowledge, even if it's not my type of game, not something that I play, you know, more than a couple times a year. It's a very well made game. There's a reason why it's still going on. It's just objectively very well made. It's the best at what it does. So I can at least respect that. Even if I'm not a particular fan of it, but I can at least appreciate how great it is at what it does. It's a kids game, but you know, that's irrelevant though. Obviously more than just kids play it, but yeah. Nintendo built its entire brand on kids games, and a lot of their fans are adults. Like, it doesn't matter. You know, Astro Bot is a game that's designed for kids. It has nothing to do with the quality of the game. Like, I'm just talking about objectively from like a quality standpoint. Fortnite is a very well made game. There's a reason why it's so successful. It found a niche, and it did it extremely well. Fortnite, a kids game that has Crip Walk, and twerking Elastigirl and Chun-Li. You love some kids games, Mario, Astro Bot. It's terrible. Yeah, like technically, there are people who say all video games are for kids. Like, if you play video games at all, it's supposed to be for kids. Like that, I think that's just a silly argument. Just regardless, that's just a silly argument. Like, you can expand that to everything. It doesn't say anything, because it doesn't say anything to what the quality is, and it's also a subjective thing. It's also just not true, because again, more than just kids play the games. Like, it doesn't mean anything. As a critique, it doesn't mean anything. You play Canada, it looks like a kid's game, but it's not. Yeah, Canada Bridge of Spirits was really good. Space Marine 2 was your 12-year-old fantasy. It was. It very much feels, and I think that's part of the charm of Space Marine 2. It felt very much like a throwback to a simpler time in gaming. You play Fortnite sometimes. A lot of people play Fortnite sometimes, yeah. Like if there's a crossover that I like for the Marvel stuff. Like I was curious about the Marvel season. I thought it looked pretty cool. So I was like, yeah, I'll tap back in, do a couple streams, do a little coverage, you know. And then once I got bored, I stopped playing. like that's really legit. Like I'll play Fortnite a little bit with my friends, and then I just stopped playing for like the rest of the year. People say they're just angry you're having fun. Pretty much. Wonder how much head do you think Keighley gives Miyazaki? Like I understand, like we all know Geoff Keighley is a huge Kojima enjoyer, but the Elden Ring glaze, holy. Like the Marvel season was bad. Chapter 2 Marvel season was awesome though. Yeah, I only played the debut. Like I ran around a little bit, got with the overpowered war machine weapons, and I played that a little bit. I knew they were going to nerf it, so I just played a couple days and then just bounced off the game because I just wasn't interested. I did log back in just to buy the Elastigirl skin, and then just log back out just so I could have it. But yeah, in general, I'm just not that into Fortnite. People mad Helldivers 2 not nominated for Game of the Year. Honestly, they should be, because only because Shadow of the Erdtree is there. Obviously, multiplayer games in general, there's like a bias against multiplayer games in general. But if we're doing DLC, why not a multiplayer game? Helldivers already has multiple nominations. Like why not Helldivers? Why not? Like if we're doing DLC now, like like why not? Helldivers 2. At least Helldivers 2 was an actual game. You see the Elastigirl skin more often now. It's a very popular choice. Seems to have replaced Chun-Li. Now next year they're not going to be able to. Fortunately, they're not going to be able to do that for next year, because next year is just going to be overloaded with games. Like there's no way they're going to have room for DLC with all the games releasing next year. Like because you only get 6 nominees. And GTA 6 is going to be one of them. Right off the bat. Monster Hunter Wilds has a great chance to be one of them. You got the new Borderlands. You got the new Mafia. You got another Like a Dragon game. Crimson Desert. Rise of Hydra could end up being a great one. Like there are too many games coming out in 2025 for them to waste a slot on DLC. Pixar Moms nominated for Best Looking Moms. Crimson Desert is an open world action RPG coming out next year, and it looks insane. Hope we see Exodus next year. Yeah, isn't the new Civilization? There's so many games coming out next year. Like there's no way they're gonna waste it on DLC. But this is crazy. But at least Metaphor ReFantazio is gonna win. And Black Myth Wukong got its nominee. And Stellar Blade got some decent love. Stellar Blade got more love than I thought it would. You don't need to play any of the Monster Hunter games if you want to jump into Wilds, but I think the last one was it. If you want to get a feel for it, was it Monster Hunter World? Yeah, I think Monster Hunter World is the last one. If you want to kind of see what the game is like. That one came out in 2018. You can dive into that one, see if you like it. It's definitely something like you missed the beta for Monster Hunter Wilds, which would have been a perfect opportunity. But yeah, you should definitely, if you never played any games, it is worth checking out because the combat is definitely is something that you're either going to love or you're just not. If you can get into the combat, you're gonna love it. If not, you're gonna be better off passing on it. Re-downloading Metaphor. Yeah, I enjoyed the beta. I'm not a Monster Hunter enjoyer. Maybe I'll play around with some different. I think I'll play around with a different weapon class. But I'm getting the game for free anyway, so I'll have plenty of opportunity to try it out. But definitely looking forward to playing it on my Pro. All right, I'm getting out of here. I got a video to plan. There should be, for any Marvel Rival enjoyers, on Twitter tonight, I think at around 7 Eastern, we're getting a new character reveal and a new skin reveal, so be on the lookout for that. I'll cover it tomorrow if it's anyone good. Otherwise, working on a new video. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Catch y'all next time. I'm Sadot the Gamer, signing out.